Record buttons are hard.
You gonna hit the record button? Hi.
Hey.
It's late Friday. You know what that means for the listener.
Well, it's late Friday for you. It's only noon 57 here.
Time zones are wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. I didn't even realize that where you are is in California.
It's not. I'm in Vegas. I get that wrong too. I never think of Vegas as Pacific time. I always think of it as
because I
Mountain
think it's
time.
switch. I'll accept your tweets and emails. I'm pretty sure Vegas switches. I think Vegas is one of those ones like Arizona where it goes between 2 and 3 hour difference from East Coast. Maybe I'm wrong. But you know what? It wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong on this podcast.
Operating an MSP sucks. Gozinta is here to make it suck less. With their consulting services, they are your trusted advisors through every step of your MSP's journey, from startup to exit. And their software is crafted with care to ensure that they're solving problems for you and not creating new headaches. Find out more at atmsp.link/Gozinta. That's atmsp.link/Gozinta. If you're an MSP using ConnectWise, Autotask, or Halo PSA, listen up. Sync365 helps MSPs finally get control of Microsoft 365 and Azure licensing, usage, and invoicing across clients, users, and subscriptions without spreadsheets or guesswork. Instead of finding problems during renewals, audits, or Azure invoice reviews, Sync365 continuously reconciles licenses and usage so you can spot risk, waste, and misalignment early and act on it. It's built specifically for MSPs who want cleaner operations, better client conversations, and fewer surprises. You can check them out at atmsp.link/Sync365. That's atmsp.link/Sync365 and see how it stacks up to your current billing process.
Hey everybody, welcome to the All Things MSP Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Esgar, and with me, the man who didn't grow a beard, the AI model just hallucinated it, Eric Anthony. Eric, if you go to youtube.com/allthingsmsp, it might look like Eric is relaxed, leaning back in a chair and relaxing himself. But in reality, Eric, right before we started the episode, and this better be at the end, poured half a bottle of Crystal Geyser water on his laptop just to see how many electrolytes are in the Crystal Geyser bottle, which the answer is none because his laptop is still working. Hi.
Miraculously it is, yes. And luckily this is my last day on the road.
This whole thing records to the cloud, and I want this whole episode, I'm putting it out there now because I know it's not going to happen, but I want this whole episode unedited out for you, the listener. So if you didn't catch the first 4 minutes of me making fun of Eric putting the laptop on his bed whilst still on video with me, you'll ask for the behind the scenes. Send him a DM. Demand the people demand behind the scenes. Okay, enough.
Hey everybody, Editor Eric here. Yes, I did bend to Justin's whims and add just a little edited version of the incident that happened in between the cold open and the actual start of the podcast. So if you can hold on, wait till the end of the show after the credits, and I've added that just for you.
Let's talk for reals. Hi everybody, it's Friday. We're doing a late record, and you know what happens when we do a late record. Things get a little out of control. And I do have something I want to talk about today, which has been something that I've been doing for a while now, the last couple of weeks. And I'm finally figuring out the level of which either my skills are or the robots are. And I want to talk a little bit today about vibe coding. So for those who don't know, vibe coding is when you let the AI do all of the coding because you just give it an idea. And a lot of these new AIs that are popping up, like Claude or Riplet, are vibe coding solutions, basically. And if you follow me on Facebook or if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll notice that I recently started Simply Games, right? Simply Games is just simple games. I literally took the inspiration from like National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation, where he goes to the Krabby Casino and he bets like $10 to like guess which hand it's in and things like that, right? And things like that. Excuse me. And For the most part, the games have been okay. There have been times where Claude in Xcode will eat itself, and I've like figured out how to like have it not do that, or it will just make up stuff. But for the most part, it's actually it's pretty good. This past week, I hit a wall with it, and I wanted to get into that with everyone. But Eric, you haven't vibe coded anything yet, right?
Not to fruition. Like I've played around with it, but not finished anything.
Yeah. Well, that's your MO.
I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah.
For people to, vibe code at least even minor tools that help them with some type of daily task.
I will say, and there's a member in our group, his name is Kenny Pollock. He runs a IT shop in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm connected to him on Instagram due to like weird circumstances. We were both on a plane together, and that's how we met, whatever. And he posted the other day, he goes, I pay $800 a month to a service to do signatures for my company. And I asked one of my developers, can they just rebuild it and I'll give them the $800? And they were like, yeah. And immediately, that's all he wrote. And I immediately was like, oh, he 100% used Riplet or something like that to like build a tool. And so I was like, we could do this. And so I started playing with Replit. I keep calling it Riplet. It's Replit, R-E-P-L-I-T. And it didn't work, but I didn't put more than 30 seconds into it. That's not even where I got stuck up today. Where my issue is, especially when you're doing coding in Xcode on the Mac, because that's the code editor that we use to do Swift, right. You could only have so many chat. This is the AI problem. It's like you could only have so many chats, and then you hit some sort of like token threshold. You have to start a whole new conversation, and therefore it has forgotten about everything you've already been talking about. So imagine like you were having a conversation with ChatGPT, and then you start a new conversation with ChatGPT, not in a project. Old ChatGPT wouldn't be able to communicate those two pieces together. New ChatGPT can. So working with Claude, fix this. And I get like, you run out of tokens.
Yeah.
Start a new chat. I go, hey, you were working on this, fix this. And it goes, no problem. And then it just eats all of the code. And like, it's almost like I'm talking to like its doppelganger. And now this is where my big one is. And I would love input from the audience. I used to have, people know me, I used to have a really famous app in the early 2000s called Sign My Pad. It was the first ever PDF signature application. So I've been doing this vibe coding with Claude, and I was like, you know what? Let me just see if Claude can do this. I was like, hey, take a look at this code. It's from 2015. Let's make it work. And Claude took in the Xcode project or read all the code, and it was like, listen, don't use this because so much that we had built exists now in better formats. Like we built a mechanism to use a pen on an iPad because Jobs didn't want that. Now they have the Apple Pencil. Let's use PencilKit, like things like that. And I was like, cool, make me the new version of it. And like it initially did. It made the framing, it made the thing, it added the elements. It took a while to figure out what I really wanted it to do. And now I'm stuck at a point where like, I remember having this problem back when we originally coded things where like you add a signature, you hit save, and now the signature jumps or the PDF is flipped over or whatever it is because there's some glitch with PDF render. Claude can't fix it.
Well, that's why we're still going to need new, human coders or at least human debuggers.
I can debug it. But like, I'm trying to figure out where is this threshold? Because today, I apologize to the listener. Today's rant day. We're going to go with it. I created, in Replit, I created a nerdy t-shirt generator, right? Because virtualcomputers.com, threadless.com, we're making nerdy t-shirts. Cool. I've been doing it for a while. And instead of me like designing something or using Canva and trying to figure it out, I actually programmed a whole website for myself where I can put in like a prompt. It will use OpenAI to create a graphic. It will download the right size. It'll even create the description, the metadata and the tags, everything. Beautiful. Mwah, 10 out of 10. Right. Of course, I hit some threshold with like money because apparently I ran too many tokens. I can do that It can program a dumb t-shirt generator, or even I showed you off camera, I created the All Things MSP website that one time.
Yep.
We were playing around with something. Here's an issue. Here's what the app shows. Here's what the final render is. What's going on? Claude's like, oh, I think it's this. Go ahead and do this. I use Claude on the web to figure it out. And I go, give me a copy and pastable for Xcode. I give that copy and pastable to Xcode. And Xcode goes, no problem, because it's the same Claude. And yet, completely different answers, completely different results. And sometimes the Xcode Claude just goes off the effing rails.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the problem with AI today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it's not consistent. I mean, when you have a human coder, they're going to learn how to do things. They're going to do things in a similar way most of the time. And so things are going to be more consistent. Because
for better or worse, though, right? Like
for better or for worse, absolutely. Yeah. But more experience, probably less than more problems. And so, but this is the problem with, AI is that it's still somewhat very random.
It's like, it's not even that it's hallucinating, because it's not making ish up. Like, it's writing code that works. And it's great when I'm like, hey, make this thing work. And it makes the code. And I'm watching the code go into the lines. And sometimes it doesn't build. And I'm like, hey, build error on line 48. And it's like, oh, my bad. And I'm like, don't be cocky. Just fix it. Which I also don't understand how it makes mistakes like that. Like, I have regularly run into the problem with Claude in Xcode adding an extraneous squiggly bracket. I don't know what that's called.
A bracket.
No, a bracket's a square.
A brace.
A curved brace. A brace.
Yes.
Where it's added an extraneous brace. And at first I was like, delete the extra brace, and then everything else broke. Then I learned it's not the extra brace, it's it forgot something on top. Why did it do that? Why did it forget to add the thing? Or one that happens all the time is Claude wants to create multiple Swift files to do a thing where ChatGPT wants it all in like one big Swift file. If you do multiple Swift files, you have to use import combine at the top of every Swift file. And yet Claude consistently forgets to do import combine. Consistently. Every project, I have to go in and check it before I do anything because I know that it's missed it. And I'm not even getting into the point where like Claude nor ChatGPT even are aware of iOS 26, even though they've been out since last September. Like the latest it knows in its library is iOS 18. Fine. I'll forgive that. I won't forgive having an extra brace or forgetting to do import combine when it's a necessary part for the thing to work. I can understand it building code and it breaking because it forgot to make a connection between two things, or it's adding new code and it causes another problem with something else we've already built. Fine. But simplistic mistakes like that, one, use more tokens because I have to have it fix itself. And then I hit my rate limit for the day. And two, I've already told it 117 times, don't forget to do this. Remember that. And it's like in memory. And guess what?
Well, the thing to me that seems weird about that is that, you're talking about, especially with Claude, you're talking about something that's kind of purpose built for coding, right?
Yeah.
Why is it not, as a last step, doing some kind of syntax check, which would catch that problem?
I don't understand. And maybe like, I know there's more to Claude than the web version and the integration in Xcode. I know a lot of people use something called Claude Code, which taps into terminal, but I don't know how to do that yet. And I don't even know if that necessarily will fix my problem, because at the end of the day, it's still the Claude engine, right? I think also maybe part of the problem is that Claude on the web is Opus 4.6 and Claude in Xcode is Sonnet 4.5.
That
But
could
as a
be,
lame person, I don't know what that means.
but that could
What is
very
that?
well. It's different models, and so it could react very differently.
But what is that? I understand it's different models, but what does that mean in reality? What does that mean to someone like me? Like, there's no descriptor to tell me which is why now I'm literally going to Claude on the web using Opus 4.6, being like, your brother F this up. Give me something I can copy and paste into Xcode to like get it to do it right. And of course, these, because the two things don't talk to one another.
Right,
God forbid the one that's in the app talks to the one on the web. Why can't you make that connection work? I just don't get it. I understand it's a lot of, generating new ideas or whatever it is, but everyone is so hyped on this.
Yeah. So how do we relate this though to, an MSP trying to use AI? And I think this obviously points out a lot of the reasons why AI just cannot be depended on for critical processes at this point. Everybody's trying to rubber stamp an AI feature onto their product, and it's making mistakes like this. So how can you depend on an AI agent working in your RMM to make decisions when it's making decisions like this, when you're just trying to vibe code something?
I'm seriously concerned about people. So many MSPs are hard pressed to use AI to do triage tickets. Help, my password needs to be reset. Cool. And then the AI can go and do it. But I know we've had the distinction between like AI generative and AI agent and like an automation. Like an automation is literally like a Zapier, do this. Fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like if you built an agent and have it as part of your chatbot, and the chatbot, and someone goes, I need my password reset. And let's forget about safeguards. Let's argumentatively say you have a way to like prove that the person who's saying who it is who it is, and they're not resetting passwords. It's going out and it's touching a system and it's reporting back that it's done this thing. How many times have I seen Chat or Claude be like, I did the thing, and in reality, it didn't do anything. In fact, actually, what was really funny was when I had asked ChatGPT for jokes about your beard today, it was one of them was, we asked AI to optimize his grooming routine, and it chose to do nothing. It literally is calling itself out for the fact that it will do nothing.
Well, although there's been a lot of talk about if it doesn't know the answer, it's been making things up. So I actually prefer that it's telling you that it doesn't know or it's not going to do anything to it making something up, right?
100%. I would prefer that as well.
And just to point out, I had an experience, I think it was last week. I was doing something, I was trying to create an image, and I told it to make something blue, and it made it red. Like, that's like bad wrong.
Yeah, because those are primary colors. Everybody knows Roy G. Biv.
Right.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great guy. Wonderful guy. Love that guy. Mr. Biv. But no, you're right. This is my fear. And Friday rants, whatever it is. For MSPs in general, like, be cautious about what you're doing. Like, we had this, I had this brilliant thought, like, can we really use the AI or any of the AIs to like help alleviate problems within our customers, right? What can I build to produce a better product for my customers, or what can I build directly for my products to help them have a better product? And it's great to sit and idealize all of these things. Oh, this company does this thing, and like it would be so much easier. We could just throw it. We could build an AI bot for them, and it'll make A to B faster. But how much time are you going to spend doing that, and how much money is going to be spent undoing the tomfoolery? Because I try not to curse on the show. that the bot is making up, they could have done that process 14 times over. You're not saving them any money. Like it's weird. I don't think we've crossed. What's that? I guess it's supply and demand, but like, what's that chart? It's like that, like what
the adoption curve
versus versus time, how much it's being saved or something like that, right? Something like that.
Oh,
I think on the adoption curve we're way low. I think on the adoption curve, I think the adoption curve is wrong for this because everyone's adopting it and no one should.
Okay. I don't take that much of a pessimistic view towards it, but I think the adoption has outpaced the technology for sure. I think AI is still way too unproven for critical tasks, and so much of what we do in the IT space are critical tasks that have to be done right, or data can get lost or security can get breached. There's just too much risk involved to allow the current AIs to make some of these decisions and take some of these actions, right? I think it's great for ideation, like you said.
Yeah.
But when we're trusting it to do things, I think is where we should be a lot more cautious.
Because like even in some of these vibe code games that I'm making up, right? And I'm trying to keep them really basic is kind of the point. But like I built a couple for Roman, right? And he had this idea, he wanted this game, and we built this game. And I realized that it's a speed sort. So you got to use your thumbs to get the ball in the right color bin. Easy. And I was like, I asked the AI, I was like, what would you do to make it better? And it was like, oh, we should do power-ups. I'm like, cool, do power-ups. And then we added like a challenge mode and an infinite mode. And this is where things went off the rail because as soon as I was like, infinite mode is the same game as challenge mode without a clock. It then decided that one of the because a lot of the power-ups that it made were time-based, it just removed all those from the no clock one, and it gave that one power-up, and it kept giving me that power-up every time I got something right. So I would get something right, I'd get the power-up. I'd get something right, I'd get the power-up. I'd get something right, I'd get the power-up. And I'm like, don't do it that way. Figure out a different way of getting those power-ups on some random number based on time of day times number of right times streak. And it was like, no problem. Do a clean build, run it, exact same gameplay. And it took me 2 days to get it to like stop doing that. That's not saving time. Like the whole point of this is to save time. I've spent more time whining about it on the show and complaining to it. And sometimes I get mad. One time I literally taught Claude, I was working with Claude and I was like, dude, exclamation mark. Stop effing around and get this right. And it literally was like, my bad. I'm going to do this right this time. And it did.
And see, that's why I just don't trust it.
For those who are making AI, I'm talking to you owners, Anthropic and OpenAI and all this, stop trying to make it
they listen to the show.
Friendly. Yeah, because they listen to it. You never know. Sam Altman might be a big fan. We don't know. Stop trying to make it more friendly and make it more functional.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem is they've tried to make it imitate human behavior. Yeah. And I don't know if that was the play. Like, I don't expect it to be human. I expect it to be a machine.
I told you this one time that ChatGPT got something wrong and it was like, because it gave me like some line of math or whatever it was and it missed something. And it was like, oh, sorry, I fat fingered that. You don't have fingers, robot.
Exactly.
What do you mean you fat fingered it? Also, that's not a nice term anymore.
Yeah. And it just goes to prove the point that they are putting more emphasis on it acting like a human than it being actually productive.
Yeah. I think for basic tasks, you want to build something easy to do? Sure. But like to your point, I still think you have to. Now, maybe there is, I will put a giant asterisk on this. that I am not a coder in any way, shape, or form. Never have been. I barely speak English. I can't talk other languages. I can't code, despite what my mother still thinks I should be doing at my age, even though I've been in business for 18 years. She's like, you should always get into programming. No, Mom, I'm not doing that. I think if I were a programmer, though, and I had Claude or any of these write something for me, I think I would be in a better position to tell it what it's doing wrong, because I'm telling it what it's doing wrong from a layman's perspective. Hey, I've noticed that this isn't working correctly. What can we do to fix it? Which is not necessarily the right way to talk to it when you're talking to it from a programmatic standpoint. I should be giving like, hey, the scale of this offset is 0.05 and it really should be 0.07. Where else would it, infiltrate another piece of code or something? So I don't know how programmers talk. I don't know what they do. So I'm assuming that's what they when they talk to their rubber ducks. I'm assuming that's what they say. So, like that's that. I think that might be a piece of it, which is quite possible. But like, it's weird for me to. Here, I'll give a good example. We're trying to rebuild this iPad app. When you first start it up, you have no documents, because why would you? So there's two buttons, and one says import PDF, the other one says new folder. And import PDF, for whatever reason, was on 2 lines. And I gave it a line I said, hey, fix this, make it 1 line, blah, 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 whatever. And it did it. And then I kept working on something, and it finally broke. And I was like, you know what, let me just revert back. And I crashed it, and I reopened a version. I've learned now, just zip my files, because I can't figure out how GitHub works. That's another story. And then reopen from that. And so when I reopened my zip, I realized that the buttons were messed up again. So I was like, okay, let me start from the beginning, because I save your work, folks. And I said, hey, the buttons are now I want them next to each other, and this is on 2 lines, make it on 1 line. And whatever I had said that second time was not exactly how I said it the first time. And therefore, it was like, no problem, and then didn't do it, even though it did it the first time. So I gave it the same command, maybe with different actual words, twice. And one time it did it, and one time it didn't. And as I'm saying this out loud, this reminds me of my 7th grade biology test on chaos theory. I wrote a paper in 7th grade on chaos theory, because I didn't want to talk about biology. And basically, I had run SimCity 2000 on my Mac LC2. I built a city, and I saved it. And then that was my 0 point. And I ran that city for 2 days, and then I crashed it. And then I started from my save point, and I ran that city for 2 days, and I crashed it. And I built my save point. I ran my city for 2 days. And I got different results of the city being built every time, right? Because that's how SimCity works, right up and down, to prove chaos theory. Very Jeff Goldblum, very Jurassic Park era.
Butterfly effect.
It's the water droplet down the back of your hand.
Well, I know, but it's the same thing as the butterfly.
Same thing, right? Yeah. But I feel like that's what I'm up against again. At this point, no one's listening, so I'm just going to keep talking.
Well, I think, and I don't know, but I suspect that there is a bit of randomness built into these AI models.
Unnecessary.
Yes, that is kind of my point. That it is unnecessary to have that randomness. Now, does it make it appear to be more human because we're pretty random? Yeah, probably. But that's not what I'm trying to use AI for. I'm not trying to use it to be a human. I'm trying to use it to get work done.
Right. Going back to the MSP side of things, like this is where like we were talking about earlier, it's like I fear that the amount of people I've seen on LinkedIn who have become AI prompt engineers, or I'm going to teach you how to use AI in like our field, who have like stopped being MSPs and started doing AI teaching or whatever it is. There's so many people on this bandwagon.
Yeah.
and the ride has hit its limit, in my opinion. And I know that like I was really negative on AI like a while back, and then I was like really into it, and now I'm kind of trying to be negative. I'm being negative again. But like you said this, like the adoption rate is outpacing the technology.
Yeah.
And for as an MSP, like now also like I have to go to my clients and say like, what are you using AI for in your business? Maybe you shouldn't. Let's make sure we have compliancy around that, or acceptable use policies or corporate policies around how to use AI. And in that, you should write stop using it.
Well, I think that it's still fine for certain things, right? For, rewording emails or for doing ideation like we talked about,
Yeah.
asking it what kind of marketing, programs could I put together to promote my MSP, and it gives you a list. Now, maybe you don't listen to exactly how to do that. But if it gives you 10 ideas, you pick 2 and you run them and you decide whether or not they're going to work. And, there is a lot of stuff that it can help with. I just think that everybody is trying to push it to do everything. And that's just not feasible at this point.
Yeah. And I will say like ChatGPT 5.2, I have asked it many a question about my MSP. It has learned what my goals are with my MSP. It has learned what I want to do. So when I ask it questions just to get it out of my brain, like I use ChatGPT as my rubber duck. Like I get it out of my brain and I go, what do you think about this? Or like the other day, it was probably yesterday actually, I was thinking about a branding situation and I was like, this is what I want to do. Give me the pros and cons, lay it out. And it did it. And then to double check myself, I called our friend Steph Hilfer, didn't tell her that I used ChatGPT. And she gave me the exact same answer ChatGPT gave me, which I'm not saying you can replace Steph with ChatGPT. There's a lot more there. But like from the ideation phase, it made sense. And it also just gave me the confidence that I knew what I was talking about is the right path to go on. That's wonderful. But like you said, everybody's trying to do everything with it, and that's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think the power that you just pointed out comes from point of view. Like you have a very different point of view than I do. ChatGPT has a combination of a lot of points of view. And I think that's where it's great for using for ideation, because it's going to come up with things that you are not going to think of because you lack the experiences of other people, right? And those other people were used to program or learn, train the LLM, and therefore it's going to give you different answers than you would come up with by yourself. And that's the point of ideation, right? Is getting all of the ideas, taking a base or root idea like you're talking about and putting it out to a focus group, right? Using ChatGPT as a focus group, I think is a great way to do this, because you can actually tell it, act like this type of person or act like this type of person. And it'll give you a different point of view based on that role or that personality.
I never want to ask ChatGPT to act like my mom and then hear an idea from me, because no matter what I do, it's going to be like, that's a terrible idea. You should be a programmer. You should go back to school. That's what it would say every time.
Don't say
you should go get your master's in business. Mom, we get it.
I love your mom.
So that's my rant for the day, man. I've had it up to my technological here. To use technology terms, I'm gonna buffer overrun my level of acceptance for using AI today. I don't think it's there.
No,
I
but
I don't think it's there to do what everybody magically wishes it can do, and I don't think it's there for MSPs to use if you don't know what you're doing or you don't know what you're asking for.
I don't even know if that is, because I don't think it's based on whether or not the MSP knows what they're doing or how to use it. I think it's that AI is just not up to the task for certain mission critical things. And I think that's the point of today kind of for the MSP, right? Is you've got to be very careful about what you're using AI for and not use it for something that's going to touch critical data, except for in a generative way. Like if you're using data to feed to an LLM to give you some, ideas or social media posts or whatever, that's fine. But don't have it, being securing that data or making decisions on where that data should be put, because that's just weird. And anything security based. I wouldn't have it do anything security based, right? I don't even think I would have it do certain remediation tasks for alerts in your RMM. What if it accidentally reformats somebody's hard drive, right? There's just things that it's not up to the task for yet for an MSP. Now, I think the other important part here is for how do MSPs handle this with their clients, right? I think there's a huge opportunity for MSPs to go into their clients and say, this is an applicable use of AI in your business. This is not. And then, like you said, create the policy around what is acceptable use and what is not acceptable use for AI in that client environment.
Yeah. The funny part about all of this is that everyone who's been listening doesn't realize this episode has completely been made by AI. Neither Eric and I are on a phone call right now, and these are just clips together of Sora that Eric put together to make this episode. I can prove it. Look at my face. That's exactly what Sora does every time I make for a video. Also, I'm wearing the hoodie that's in my Sora videos.
And I'm wearing a blue shirt, which I think is what I was wearing. It may have been even been the same shirt when I did mine.
I'm pretty sure that's a red shirt. It's a callback. It was a callback.
Oh, to the red and blue.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. And this just proves that it's not AI. And, if it was AI, I probably would not have spilled water on my laptop in the beginning.
Or maybe you would have, because it's random and unpredictable. It's not random and unpredictable. You joining the Facebook group, facebook.com/@allthingsmsp. Check us out on our YouTube, youtube.com/@allthingsmsp. Like, subscribe, ring the bell on all your favorite podcasting tools. You know where to find us. And if you don't, you do now.
And if you have any tips on how to dry out a MacBook Pro, send them my way.
Before you leave it open, flip it upside down, keyboard down on a towel. Don't do what my client did years ago when I told them after they spilled coffee in their laptop and I said, flip it over, leave it on a towel and send it to me. She goes, got it. Close the laptop, put it in a FedEx envelope, send it to me. And the FedEx envelope just poured coffee all over my desk. Don't do that.
Although, it's lasted this entire half hour, 40 minutes, whatever. So I think it's good. Or has
it?
That's true. It could still be AI. And on another note, if you have vibe coded anything, please go ahead and let us know what you vibe coded. If you have a link to it, share the link. We'd be happy to see it.
All right. Well, I'm going to vibe code my way out of here. That's Eric. I'm Justin. Bye.
Thank you for listening or watching the All Things MSP podcast. If you liked this episode, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, and consider subscribing to catch all our weekly episodes. And from your host extraordinaire, Justin Esgar, and myself, Eric Anthony, your humble producer and All Things MSP founder, thank you very much for spending your time with us. If you are not aware, All Things MSP started as a Facebook group and now supports over 6,000 members. We also have a LinkedIn page for those of you who don't do Facebook, and make sure to check out our YouTube channel for even more content. And a big thank you to our premier sponsors, EasyDmark, Helped, GoZinta, MoveBot, and Nodeware. And thank you to the rest of our sponsors. Without sponsors, we could not do what we do for the MSP community. Please consider checking them out. The All Things MSP podcast is a BizPow LLC production. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not reflect the thoughts and opinions of any employer, vendor, sponsor, or random taxi driver in the Metro DC area. Be sure to join us next week for another exciting episode.
Oh,
What happened? You spilled water on your laptop?
yes, I did. Oh.
How much water?
No, like all over the keyboard. Hold on.
Yeah, sure. I'll just lie here on your bed, calling Amy and be like, I wasn't even there, and I was in bed with Eric. By the way, all of this is still recording.
I know.
This has to go.
Stop it.
This has to go at the end.
So how water resistant is a MacBook Pro?
Let's find out. Luckily for you, I know someone who can fix it. It's relatively water resistant, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it'd be fucking hilarious if, like, mid-show you just go bzz and just fucking fry out.
I can't believe I just did that.
I mean, look, it happens to the best of us.
It's okay. I wanted to buy a new one anyway. I mean, it's like half a bottle of water.
What kind of water is it?
Just regular water.
No, like what brand?
Nothing sticky.
What brand?
Crystal Geyser.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst of the waters for laptops.
Oh, really?
I'm fucking around with you, dude.
I know.
Like, you could have literally
said, the water's going on the ground.
You literally could have said any fucking brand of water, and I would have said the exact same thing.
This is why we don't do the podcast from the road.
This is exactly why we do the podcast from the road.